Merry Christmas, friends. Okay, it's not Christmas, but let's talk for a second about the baby Jesus and St. Francis's devotion to him. Most people know about St. Anthony's devotion to the baby Jesus, which came by being so like Mary that the baby Jesus was seen to come and rest in his arms. A lot of people are familiar with the statue of St. Anthony holding the baby Jesus in his arm, but we don't really see that with St. Francis, and yet we know St. Francis gave us the nativity scene as we know it. He had the first live nativity at Greccio. And so we were doing this book share and on Surrounded by Love, 7 Teachings from St. Francis by Murray Bodo. And there was this quote at the bottom of page 11. It said, "The name baby Jesus was for him honeycomb sweet in the mouth." And it says this by Thomas of Celano, Second Life of Francis, page 199. But everyone there, and they're secular Franciscans who've been professed for a while, were like, I've never heard that. So I managed to find online another article. And of course, it's I think it's St. Anthony Messenger, but it was written by Murray Bodo. So it's the same little quote. And again, he says, and Brother Thomas of Celano in his Second Life of St. Francis wrote, Francis used to observe with inexpressible eagerness and above all other solemnities the birth of the child Jesus, calling it the feast of feasts on which God, having become a little baby, hung upon human breasts. He would avidly kiss pictures of those little infant limbs, and his compassion for the child overflowed his heart, making him stammer sweet words, even like a child. The name baby Jesus was for him honeycomb sweet in the mouth. Again, I don't know what translation he's using, and I'm dying to know. So I went and got the book we use in formation, St. Francis of Assisi. This is volume 1, The Saint, and it has the life... I don't know if you can hear my crazy dog down there. He's trying to get me to play. It has the Life of St. Francis by Thomas of Celano, and in the I read the whole second book, and I could not find anything like that. So I went back to the first book, and there is a whole section. It starts on page 250. Where is it? 254 about the baby Jesus and the celebration of the Lord's birthday. And so here's the passage that I think he's getting it from. Again, it's probably a different translation, so and Murray Bodo is so poetical, so I don't know. Here we go. Let's see. Then he preaches to the people standing around him and pours forth sweet honey about the birth of the poor king in the poor city of Bethlehem. Moreover, burning with excessive love, he often calls Christ the babe from Bethlehem, whenever he means to call him Jesus, saying the word Bethlehem in the manner of a bleating sheep. He fills his whole mouth with the sound, but even more with sweet affection. He seems to lick his lips whenever he uses the expression Jesus or babe from Bethlehem, tasting the word on his happy palate and savoring the sweetness of the word. The gifts of the Almighty are multiplied there, and a virtuous man sees a wondrous vision. For a man saw a little child lying lifeless in the manger, and he saw the holy man of God, that's St. Francis, approach the child and waken him from a deep sleep. Nor is this vision unfitting, since in the hearts of many the child Jesus has been given over to oblivion. Wow. So I was searching for that little passage. I wanted St. Francis to have said, "Oh, dear sweet baby Jesus." I admit I got that from a movie, and I've used that with teens. It's just a way to make Jesus so much more approachable, right? And I love thinking of the incarnation, so it totally works for me. I love thinking the baby Jesus. And just how sweet he is. And it puts me in that mood for prayer, right? And it does a lot of people. So I was excited to see that maybe St. Francis said it first, right? And then here I see this beautiful passage saying, I love that he said Bethlehem, like a bleating sheep. I just love that. But then that line, nor is this vision unfitting, since in the hearts of many the child Jesus has been given over to oblivion. Now he is awakened and impressed on their loving memory by his own grace through his holy servant Francis. At length the night's solemnities draw to a close, and everyone went home with joy. How amazing. So I don't know about you, friends, but this year I want to go to a living nativity and see the babe of Bethlehem. What joy. I just love that passage. So if you're wondering, friends, we found it. It is sort of in the book. I just wonder what translation Murray Bodo is using. But that does sound so beautiful. So coming back, the article is actually called, let me come up here. It is St. Anthony Messenger. It was November 26, 2018. St. Francis and the Gift of Greccio. And this is also a beautiful, beautiful little article. I encourage you to get out and search for that. He's talking about Greccio is called the belly button of Italy. Oh, I just thought that was funny because it's the geographical center of Italy. Isn't that funny? It's a little town called, I think it said Rieti, which is the geographical center of Italy. The umbilicus, as the Italians call it, the belly button of Italy. And that's very close to the friary at Greccio. Oh my goodness, friends. It just seemed so sweet. So, so sweet. And it was a new kind of Christmas celebration for them. Wow. For St. Francis, this is what I wanted to read you. Christmas was linked inseparably to the Passion as well, because to become a human being means suffering and death, and there is already suffering in the Incarnation, in God's becoming human, leaving behind the trappings of the divinity, emptying himself, as St. Paul says in the letter to the Philippians, becoming obedient to death, even on a cross. And all of this sprang from profound love. St. Francis's first biographer, we're going back to Thomas of Celano, said of Francis, "Indeed, so thoroughly did the humility of the Incarnation and the charity of the Passion occupy his memory that he, Francis, scarcely wanted to think of anything else." How beautiful. How beautiful. How often do you think of the baby Jesus? How often do you think of that sacrifice of Jesus, leaving everything behind, completely emptying himself into the form of a mere little human? And do we do that? Some of us do at Christmas time. There are people who absolutely empty themselves in service for their neighbor, whether they're going to soup kitchens or they spend like the little widow, right, who gave her last little miter into the church collection. There are people who give and give and give at Christmas. My friend Teresa is like that. Oh my goodness, friends. She just gives and gives, and it's just an overflowing fountain for her. She is just the most beautiful person. And I always hear she comes up with these great ideas. She's always connecting people to resources. Anybody needs anything, they know to go to her because she has such a kind heart and she will find a way for people. It's amazing. So there are people who self-empty. Now remember, when you self-empty, that we're not God. God is totally full all the time, right? But we need to go back. Although Jesus would go off to the mountain too, right? So he gave us a good model for that. I don't know that he really needed it, but we absolutely need it. So you need to go take that time and refresh and go back to church, do book studies, do Bible studies, do what you need to do to refresh, spend time in adoration, right? And then go out and do service. Empty yourself back out so that you can go and get filled back up again. Now, don't be like that. Remember those old phone batteries we had a while ago that you had to completely use every last charge before you could refill it? Do you remember those, friends? That was crazy. Please don't wait until that, friends. Don't be running your tank on empty, right? Don't risk that. Give and give and give, but make sure you spend time for yourself as well. So it's a great holiday season. There's lots of places you can find retreats and days of recollection. I invite you to get out and find those. If you can't, find a book study. And you know what? If you're not near a book study or book sharing or book club, you can find some online now, friends. So that's pretty exciting. So you might be in a book sharing group with people from around the world, and what great insights everyone is going to bring. Somebody said today, okay, this section didn't make any sense to me, but I bet it's going to make sense to you, and you're going to interpret it for me. And I'm so excited to find out what that section means to you. That's why we do book sharings, right? So friends, I hope this day is blessing you, and I ask you just to get out there, refresh yourself, pray. Remember to pray the rosary daily. Start learning your prayers in Latin. Let's see what else. Oh my goodness, friends, so many things. And find little opportunities to serve our neighbor as we prepare our hearts for the baby Jesus. Sweet baby Jesus, the babe from Bethlehem. Bye, friends. Pray for me. I'm praying for you. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and put those comments down there so we can start building a community. I'm sure lots of you out there have really excellent tips that we could all benefit from. Please put them below. Thanks, friends.